Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about code studying. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, I am doing 5 to 6 hours of coding exercises and studying coding materials, parenthesis front end, but on weekends I don't code. Is it alright to rest 2 days? I feel like my brain is going to explode. Well, of course it is. Like, as I've said before, guys, it doesn't matter how it's like learning is not the same as exercising, and exercising in some cases is more complicated than this as well. Like the time that you spend on your studies is just a baseline for you making sure that you're spending the time necessary in order to actually give yourself a chance to learn things. But the reality is that some people learn faster, some people learn slower, and very little you do will change that fact. Some people need to work even harder than this, or like you study more but might spread it out. Like the distribution of hours is sort of up to you as an individual. Just setting a baseline, I'm going to study for 5 to 6 hours, that's a good baseline, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like learn more. Classic one that is sort of up for discussion for a lot of different companies around the world that trying out the 4 day work week or things like that, or like having not working 8 hours or working 6, etc., because as you get tired, you're not a machine. If you get tired, hungry, or irritable, or emotional, or something like that, it doesn't matter if you're sitting there and studying, usually, because you may not retain especially much or make a lot of progress. So of course you can rest for 2 days. It's really down to the long haul, if that makes sense. It's this focus that you might have on like trying to mash as many hours as possible and do it in the shortest amount of time is less. I argue that's not really the strategy that you should try to follow. What I'm saying is that you have to give yourself an honest amount of time. So 5 to 6 hours, that's like a very good. That's a very good amount. Like it's basically the same amount of time, that effective time, that a lot of the professionals and like people who go to school and so forth, that's how long you usually spend on, like, I'm not saying that you're studying for exactly 5 hours, but I'm saying that the time investment that you are putting towards this goal, regardless of if that's studying or like being in class or whatever you might be doing, that's about the time we're talking about, right? That's reasonable to ask from a person who's doing something full time. But you still have to understand that it might take longer for you than another person, or in some case you might be a person who needs more breaks than another person. All these factors play in, because at the end of the day, nobody cares how many hours you put into your studies. They care about what you can do. And that's sort of the main thing that I want people to sort of understand, which is that you mentally commit yourself to something. It's the same thing with exercise or whatever, right? You can't tell yourself that you're gonna like get in shape and you're gonna like run marathons every single day or something like that. And great if you can do that. Usually people who might want to be getting into shape, who tries to do that, they fail or they hurt themselves like severely because their body is not up to that challenge. Whereas there are some people who have been, they're Olympic level athletes and they can do these sorts of things because they have the physiology to do that. And that's the thing that you should focus on. You have a set of preconditions for how well you can do in an area, and studying for X amount of hours is a good start, but you still have to listen to your body. You still have to understand that for you, as an example, you might go to school and take a bachelor's, or like, I don't know, you take some courses and maybe you're in the top brass of of the class, even if you only study a fraction of the time that everybody else is studying. Or maybe you're one of those people who have to work really hard and you just barely get by, or things like that. But if you continue later on, you might actually start to catch up to the people who were the best of the best, because sooner or later you actually kind of, it takes you longer to adopt the knowledge that you're trying to learn, but you will learn it later on. So that's where it becomes complicated. So I think that that's the thing that you should look at. What are the results of what you're doing? Are you learning things? Like, are you learning things and seeing an improvement in your skill set? And then make sure that you rest and make sure that you are doing what is necessary to learn, as opposed to committing yourself to some arbitrary timeline or something like that. A timeline is great to keep yourself structured, but it's not the goal. The hours are not the goal. It is the result. That's the thing that you're looking for. So what I want you to take away from this is that, of course, it's fine for you to rest. The reality is that you have to rest in order to be able to adopt things. The key thing to understand the difference between is, are you resting or are you slacking off? And you see, resting when you're tired is not slacking off. That's something you have to do because you're not a machine. You have to rest so that you can go back and study. If you procrastinate all the time, or you're not really committing and so forth, then you could be working for 12 hours, you could be working for 18 hours, it doesn't matter, because if you're not actually committing to the thing, learning things, well, then the hours are pointless. And that's the thing that you should focus on. Focus not so much on if you rest or something like that. Focus on the quality of the learning that you are doing, because some people, they have to work really, it's, as I said, it's like with weight. Some people have an easy time, some people have a hard time. And it really just comes down to figuring out what's going to work for you so you get the results. And in this scenario, it is your skill as a software developer and your understanding of the craft and all the tools and all that stuff. That's the thing that you should use as a measurement if you're working hard enough. And if you are seeing those results, then heck, go and take 3 days off, take 4 days off. Doesn't really matter as long as you're seeing the results that you're looking for. Have a great day.